Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. This is my first impressions of Big Daddy, aka Blitzcrank 2.0. I am, of course, talking about Nautilus, the Titan of the Depths. This is the newest champion released in League of Legends. He was released on Valentine's Day, and I would just like to quickly note that this is not a guide video. This is not me saying, if you do not play this champion this way, you are bad at this game and you won't do this style because you are terrible at this game. This is me saying, this is my experience with this champion, this is how I have played him, and this is how I feel he fits into the metagame. If you have a different experience, please let me know in the comment section below, because obviously no two players will have the same experience with the same champion because of different skill levels and different playstyles, etc. I will not be going in depth on any of his abilities. If you'd like to know more about them, please go ahead and look at the League of Legends wiki page or the Riot Games Champion Spotlight. I will quickly go over them, however, because can't really talk about a champion with knowing nothing about him. His passive is called Staggering Blow, and once every 12 seconds, his auto attacks will deal an additional physical damage, as well as immobilize the target for up to 1 second. This will actually start at half a second and then increase based on his level. This is something you can use on multiple enemies in succession. You just can't use it on the same target more than once in 12 seconds. So in team fights, you're able to go around and just mini-stun the crap out of everything. This Q is called Dredge Line. It is a skill shot hook that deals one of two things. If you hit a champion, you will bring you and that champion together, and you will stun that champion for a brief period. And if you hit terrain, you will get dragged towards it. And if you get dragged towards the terrain, the cooldown is reduced by half. Now, one thing to note about Dredge Line. This is an ability that you cannot use over walls, obviously, because you hit walls. But if you use it on a champion, and in the process of being dragged towards them, you hit a wall, your drag is stopped. That is it. It cannot go over a wall. You basically hit the wall, and while you do reduce the gap, hopefully, because you'll be able to get dragged towards them and they'll be dragged towards you a little bit, odds are, unless your team is there, you may have just wasted an ability, but it's not that big of a deal. His W is called Titan's Wrath. It is a shield that will apply an AoE magic damage dot that is really cool. Now, the magic damage I do believe will stay for the full 10 seconds, but the shield obviously will only stay for as long as the shield is active. Now, this scales with both ability power for your magic damage and bonus health for your shield. I personally find this is a very good thing in both jungling and team fighting because of your AoE damage as well as the damage reduction your shield is going to give you. Riptide is his E. He slams the ground, and in a circle around him he sends out these shock waves 3 times, and if it hits an enemy, every other time it hits it in that skill, it does half of that damage. So if you hit somebody 3 times, the first time will do the full amount, the second time will do half of that, and the third time will do half of that. It is a very powerful slow. It is 30% at rank 1 and 50% at max rank, as well as this pretty decent damage. It is a good ability to farm with if you are laning, but it will push the lane. This is something you need to know. But with your Q and such, you should be alright in terms of dealing with ganks. His ultimate is called Depth Charge, and he fires out a shockwave that locks onto a champion, and the shockwave will continue to go through until it hits that champion, and any enemy champions that are hit by it on the way there will get knocked up and dealt with half of the damage as the full ability, but the champion that you lock onto will be nuked as well as stunned for up to 2 seconds based on the rank. Now, one thing to note about Nautilus, as a tank, he has really good ratios. His ultimate is a 0.8, his E is a 0.5, his shield is a 0.4, and his hookshot is a 0.75. That does not mean play him AP. I mean, if you want to, go ahead, but this is not how I've played him. I personally have been playing him as a top solo. Does not mean his jungle is bad by any means. I have just found him to be a pretty strong laner, which a lot of tanks cannot say the same. Think about it, you know, Singed to an extent. Cho'Gath is pretty good. Shen right now is in a great spot because those buffs, man, Dem buffs. But pure tank, I mean, there's a lot of tanky champions that do really well in lane. You know, Rumble's pretty tanky, he does well in lane, etc., etc. But pure tanks that can really do well in lane, that can actually engage without damage items, very rare. Nautilus has those abilities with his passive and his slow and his shield, rather, too. He just does a lot of damage without really having to build it. I like to focus in, of course, mana and mana regeneration, the improved recall time, and the increased buff duration in utility. And I really like to focus on the movement speed because his base movement speed is 300. Really slow, but when you think about it, his CC makes up for it. And with the amount of movement speed increase you have in this game, it's not that big of a deal. Now, in terms of runes, I have tried a number of different things. This is what I have personally settled on. It does not mean this is the best setup. This is just what I find fits my playstyle the best. I use magic penetration marks, flat armor seals, magic resist per level glyphs, and movement speed quintessences. I have also tried ability power quintessences, flat AP quintessences, that is, and that has also been effective, but I feel that the extra movement speed will help him. If you're jungling, it'll help him, and if you're in lane, it'll help him for a number of different reasons. The glyphs you may want to swap out for flat MR if you are against a AP top. That is just personal preference. As far as playstyle goes, I have played him very similar to Maokai in terms of my item build, because while he does do a lot of damage and very disruptive, he gets extremely tanky with tank items, and that disruption is better if you survive than to nuke somebody for a little bit more damage. For items, I like to start with a regrowth pendant, and I turn it into Shirelia's Revelry. Boots, I personally go with Ninja Tabi because I feel that if I'm being CC'd, I'm doing my job as the tank, but if you would prefer Merc Treads, feel free to get those as well. Aegis of the Legion, if your teammates are not getting it, if they are, you can swap that out for an item based on their team. This can be a Glacial Shroud or maybe a Heart of Gold, which you can turn into the Locket of the Solari or a Randy with Omen. I like to get Sunfire Cape if their team is not heavy in attack speed but does have damage, and I will get Frozen Heart if they have a lot of attack speed. I will get Abyssal Scepter every game because it is a great item on this character. It gives him ability power, tankiness, as well as that magic resist or the magic resist reduction aura, which is just very, very strong. Now, I will also get an ability or an item based on what I see on their team. If they have a lot of magic damage, I will get a Force of Nature. If they are heavier on the AD side, I will get a Guardian Angel. Force of Nature is great because you're going to have a lot of health on this champion no matter really what you buy, and the extra health regeneration as well as the additional movement speed is really, really helpful. Now, again, just what I like to build. I've seen some different things. I've seen him be played as an AP utility tank with, you know, Rod of Ages and Rylai's and Abyssal and Zonias and all of these sort of items. Not necessarily a bad thing, I just feel like you have more survivability and you can benefit your team more by building tanky. As a champion that you're going to get a lot of assists with, probably not going to carry with, but you're going to be a great help for your team. I think he's got a pretty good spot in the current metagame, either as a jungle or as a top solo, and in team fights, he's so good. He's so much CC potential, he does a lot of damage, and when I played him with Sunfire Cape, that damage was just increased because nobody wants to kill me, they want to kill the carry. You're able to get on people and just do a ton of damage. Now, I said above, or before, many times, these are just my first impressions of this champion. Please feel free to let me know your first impressions in the comment section and whatnot. And of course, if you like this video, thumbs up and all of that shit. And if you didn't, please let me know why. I am okay if you didn't like it, but constructive criticism is great. Just saying you're an idiot, it's not constructive criticism, people. Keep that in mind. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This is my first impressions of this champion. I hope to do another one for the next champion that comes out. And if you would like to know more about this champion, please feel free to check out the wiki page, solomid.net, lulpros.com, any of the guide sites. You'll learn more about this champion, you'll see other play styles, and you'll get a better feel for how he is played. Anyway guys, my name is High and Fiber. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.